A clean energy group says President Trump's big, beautiful bill will cost South Dakota billions of dollars. It's budget time in Pennington County. We'll hear what the state's attorney's office says they need. And you've heard plenty of proposed locations for a new prison in South Dakota. Could Box Elder be joining the list? Your news starts now.
From Skyline Drive, this is KOTA Territory News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Jack Cottle. Could Box Elder be the site for the new South Dakota men's prison? The city on Monday submitted a proposal to the South Dakota Department of Corrections. Our Brian Savage has more on the possibility of Box Elder becoming the home for the penitentiary.
Back in February, Governor Larry Rodin created the South Dakota Project Prison Reset Task Force to seek the best path in constructing a new state prison. After state lawmakers didn't approve a final funding bill to have the prison built in Lincoln County, the task force has been looking into other potential sites. The team is considering potential sites in Mitchell and Worthing, and now Box Elder is exploring joining that group after the city submitted a proposal to the South Dakota Department of Corrections in consideration of bringing the new prison to town.
This is a very preliminary piece to understand if our community can withstand and withhold this size of a facility.
The proposed site would be located along Highway 1416, which is approximately 2 miles from Interstate 90. The site would be roughly 105 acres and is owned by Giggling Ranch LLC.
No decisions have been made. We don't have any costs or timeline at this point in time as well, and the City Council has yet to make a decision too.
Bader says the city wanted to make sure they had enough time to approach the idea as an opportunity for economic development to allow the community and City Council to see if they want to proceed and pursue the prison.
That way we can kind of have a decision and at least an understanding of the questions we need to ask, so I'm prepared for that task force meeting that they'll be having here soon in July.
The proposed property site is zoned as agriculture currently and would require the county to get a conditional use permit for development until an approval is made for formal rezoning. In Box Elder, Brian Savage, KOTA Territory News.
Meteorologist Ryan Hill is tracking strong to severe storms through KOTA Territory. So Ryan, what is the latest out there?
Yeah, we had a severe thunderstorm warning around the Hill City area. That storm has weakened a little bit, still got a bit of an oomph to it and some nice rainfall out of it, some nice downpours. Take a look at Waldo. We've got a pretty hefty thunderstorm that looks like it's strengthening, headed generally east at about 35 miles per hour. So we would imagine seeing it in the Phillip area within the next half hour or so. We could see a severe thunderstorm warning out of that. But meanwhile, we've got another severe thunderstorm warning in Crook County, Wyoming, that's generally headed towards the northern hills. It's got $50 size hail at this moment. Radar indicated no spots of it yet. Meanwhile, another storm with radar indicated $50 size hail moving into northwestern Butte County right there. That seems to be holding its own. Maybe a little bit of weakening in that core, so we could see some smaller hail sizes. Meanwhile, marginal risk, seeing less of an active situation as we make our way through tomorrow. More storms towards the east on the plains for your Friday, but warming up is in the full forecast. I'll talk more about how hot that will be a little later on. Jack, back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. 24 inmates at the South Dakota State Penitentiary are facing assault and riot charges following a May 27th fight. Beth Warden breaks down gang activity in the penitentiary and why the Attorney General believes all inmates are safer than they were a few weeks ago.
In a Department of Justice report from 1985, the South Dakota Department of Corrections was among 16 states claiming no gangs were present in the prison system. Attorney General Marty Jackley makes it clear that is not the case today.
The boys or the TBZs, the Red Brotherhood, which is RBH, the Gangster Disciplines, the GDs, the Bloods, the Crips, the Northside Mafia, the Warlords, the East River Skins, and the Vice Lords.
The May 27th unrest, now legally classified as a riot, appeared to be coordinated, according to investigators.
The charges include 24 inmates.
Sources working closely with the DOC tell me there are times gangs apply pressure on prison staff. Jackley makes one thing clear.
There were no correction officers involved in this charging decision.
A Department of Justice report lists the top gang activities behind bars as intimidation, trafficking drugs, assault, extortion, or abusing weak inmates, and for members to protect each other. Secretary of Corrections Kelly Wasco acknowledges their presence. I asked Wasco if a new prison layout could be beneficial. She says modern prisons assist in the effective management of these groups by allowing more options for separation and supervision through physical and security technologies. Nationwide, the top responses to gang activity in prisons include bus therapy, which is relocating a leader to another facility. But studies have shown putting a gang leader in solitary confinement is not a solution, as a new leader typically emerges to fill the void. A source tells me gang recruitment at the South Dakota State Penitentiary is a real thing. Jack Lee vows to fight any related crime.
It just became safer today because we've made it clear that the Attorney General is not going to tolerate criminal activity behind the walls.
Those I spoke to today with local prison gang knowledge are thankful for the absence of white supremacist gangs in our prisons. In Sioux Falls, Beth Warden, Dakota News Now.
A former Just Gymnastics coach is facing federal child pornography charges. 25-year-old Hayden Sangua is charged with the receipt and possession of child pornography. The criminal complaint filed states that between May of 2018 and January of this year, Sangua knowingly received images and videos of child pornography and said the material was found in Sangua's Google accounts and an external hard drive. The complaint also states that on April 9th, Sangua knowingly possessed child pornography on a cell phone. Sangua pleaded not guilty and is scheduled to return to court this Friday. If found guilty, Sangua could face up to 25 years in prison. A message sent to parents by Just Gymnastics says his employment there was terminated in May of 2024 for circumstances unrelated to these charges. Pennington County State's Attorney Laura Retzel presented her proposed budget to the Board of Commissioners today. The state's attorney is requesting an increase to address rising caseloads, staffing needs, digital evidence demands, and continued support for programs like diversion. She explained attorneys in Pennington County have more than double the caseload compared to other jurisdictions, and her attorneys cannot continue to do the workload that the crime in our community is creating. The board showed a mix of both support and opposition to Retzel's request.
I think the frustration from everyone in the room today was, what does the county do when they don't have the revenue to meet the needs? We are really the hub of criminal justice, and that's why it was so important for me to communicate to the commissioners today that I need better technology and I need more staff, and I can't be expected to meet the demands of the community if you can't meet the needs of my office. That's just the reality.
The board will consider the proposal as part of the broader county budget process later this summer. What does one group say the big beautiful bill will do here in South Dakota? That's up after the break right here on KOTA Territory News at 5:30. A clean energy group said the big beautiful bill will cost South Dakota billions of dollars of economic loss. Blake Trolley has more.
According to the American Clean Power Association, South Dakota is estimated to lose about $20 billion in spending loss and about 7,000 jobs over the next decade under the bill. The spending loss would be both from lost investment into the clean energy industry and associated economic activity.
It's important to consider that South Dakota is a leader in the clean energy space. Roughly 62% of the state's generation is currently coming from clean energy, roughly about what would power a million homes within the state. So this is a state that is heavily invested in the clean energy space in the past. There is a large tower manufacturer currently located in the state as well.
The group says the bill is also forecast to cost South Dakotans $5 billion in lost income over the next decade.
So that's, as a result of lost jobs that are taking place, in addition to higher electricity prices. Estimates show that the state would see about an 11% increase in their retail electricity rates by 2030.
The bill's concerns stem from moving the expiration date for new projects to obtain technology-neutral tax credits from 2032 to the end of this year. The bill would also place restrictions on which countries companies could source their materials from based on national security concerns and human rights concerns. While American Clean Power says it agrees with the concept of being careful about materials, it says the bill's rules are currently too hard for companies to comply with. The association says it wants both a more gradual phase out of clean energy credits and wants the restrictions on material sourcing to be more workable. In Rapid City, Blake Trolley, KOTA Territory News.
Less storms and more heat, but some strong to severe storms remain possible. Meteorologist Ryan Hill has the details in your accurate First Alert forecast next.
Now, the First Alert forecast with meteorologist Ryan Hill.
As my colleague Ryan Larmew talked about earlier in the day, we are verifying some of that isolated severe risk with some severe thunderstorms carrying quarter-sized to half-dollar-sized hail, one getting into northwestern or rural Harding County. But the next, we've got another one headed into Butte County that's kind of holding its own. It's got half-dollar-sized hail. Half-dollar-sized hail south of Sundance, moving into the northern hills into Lawrence County. Spearfish, you could be seeing this within the next half hour to 45 minutes. So get those cars into someplace safe. Get yourself someplace safe. You don't want to be dealing with hail bonking you in the head. Other than that, it's going to be a warm evening. We're talking about 59 here in Rapid City, 60 over in the Philip and Kadoka area. So a warm evening here in western South Dakota, but a little bit cooler in northeastern Wyoming. In the hills, we're talking about lower 50s around there. But the forecast definitely is going to be one of warming in the next 48 to 72 hours. We've got some southerly winds that are going to be blowing on in, and they gradually start as of tomorrow afternoon and evening. Take a look at these 20-mile-per-hour gusts pulling in some warmer air. Those last into Friday and intensify, as you can see right here as I back out of the picture here a little bit. You can see some of even 30-mile-per-hour gusts. And this reminds me a little bit of what we had towards the beginning of last weekend. However, not as potent. Tomorrow, definitely a transition day into that heat. We're talking about some upper 80s, generally in the lower elevations, and in the higher elevations, we're talking about high 70s to near 80, flirting with 80 with that 78 there in Deadwood. We're going to be watching some storms still, just like the other Ryan may have also mentioned. We have some isolated activity that might be firing up tomorrow evening around the Bighorns, even near the Gillette area down towards Hot Springs, but that generally won't be too much of a big deal. However, we make our way to Friday. We've got a level 2 out of 5 risk on the eastern plains, so take a look at these cells here. Those could contain damaging winds and large hail. We'll be keeping an eye on those storms, all of them, but after that point, we make our way into the weekend and calm down. There's where your risk is. Again, the highest risk is going to be east of Wall, so into Philip, Kadoka, and Martin. So keep an eye on the skies. Our KOTA First Alert weather app. Stay tuned for watches and warnings. We could see that again pop up on Sunday with active weather again expected. But here's your forecast for Friday. We've got some upper 90s headed into our area. But meanwhile, warmer temperatures after that cool down with some active thunderstorms over the weekend. We could see some isolated storms pop up in the hills and head out into our area. We do still have some instability, but overall we're going towards some heat and potentially similar heat to what we see on Friday after we cool down over the weekend. You can see that right there in the 3-day outlook for the Northern Hills, Northeast Wyoming. That cool down showing up on the weekend. But yeah, taking a look at flirting with 90s again on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. We get into the 90s in Rapid City with some renewed chances for storms by this time next week.
All right. Thank you very much, Ryan. Well, coming up, top golfers got out the clubs for a big round on the Sanford International Series today. Plus, we check in with the Sheridan Legion baseball team as the Troopers are putting together an impressive season. Vic Quick has all that and more next in KOTA Sports.
Good evening, everyone. The SDGA's Sanford International Golf Series is stopping off in Spearfish this week. It's a 2-round event featuring the top boys and girls golfers in the state from age 14 to 18. Today, the players teed it up for round 1 at Elkhorn Ridge. For the boys, Sioux Falls' Jaden Antonin fired a 3-under 69 to grab the first-round lead. Spearfish's Parker Reedy is in 3rd place with an even par 72. Rapid City's Hayden Haig is in a group tied for 4th 4th at 76. Spearfish's Charlie Rasmussen is 8th with a 77. For the ladies, Rapid City's Caitlin Strain shot a 75 to take the first round lead. Her high school teammate Rylan Horning is in 4th place with a 78. Rapid City's Finley Young and Porcupine's Jada Jacobs are 9th and 10th. The tournament wraps up with another 18 holes tomorrow at the Spearfish Country Club. The Sheridan Legion baseball team grabbed people's attention by winning the Veterans Classic at Rapid City a few weeks ago, knocking out Post 22 in the championship game. With a 27-20 record, Sheridan returns to the Diamond tomorrow when it plays in a tournament in Billings. Now, Austin Cowan is in his 9th season with the program, and this is his 3rd year as head coach of the Troopers. Sheridan has a strong lineup to go along with a talented group of pitchers, and Coach Cowan keeps his team focused on the fundamentals.
You know, bearing down with when we got jobs to do. You know, so whether that's, hey, we need a key bunt down, or, you know, we got a guy on third with less than 2 outs, just choking up and getting the job done to get that run in. I mean, we've already lost a handful of one-run games, so if we can overemphasize those things, I think we'll win even more games. You know, pounding the zone as pitchers and then trusting our defense, because our true strength is our defense. They make a lot of good plays, and one of our main goals every year is to have about a 950 to 960 fielding percentage, and right now we're right there, so things are looking good.
Now, there's some sad news to pass along from the sports world as South Dakota State football player Nate White has passed away at the age of 20. White joined the Jackrabbits program in January as a transfer from Wisconsin. The Milwaukee native competed at running back in SDSU spring practice. No cause of death has been released. Jalen Little has been hired as the new head coach of the Chadron State women's basketball team. Little brings a decade of coaching experience to the job. He's a familiar name to Eagles fans, as Little worked as an assistant coach for the Chadron State men's team from 2016 to 20. For the past 5 seasons, Little has worked as the lead assistant for the CSU Pueblo women's squad. Now, during his time in Pueblo, the Thunder Wolves made 4 consecutive trips to the RMAC tournament. Colorado Springs native played his college basketball at Abilene Christian. Big night tonight for rodeo. Wild West Wednesday's rodeo gets going down at Hart Ranch, and I'll have the highlights for you back here at 9 and 10. That's a look at sports.
Be sure to tune in to KOTA Territory News at 6 on Fox, a South Dakota library that isn't placing age restrictions on books, even with the new law going into effect.
Could be somebody within the community that has a need for that type of material.
Plus, what you need to know to keep your skin healthy from a nearly invisible threat. Those stories and more are at 6 on Fox.
For one four-legged friend, a tragic event turned into a happy ending thanks to a bit of luck and a woman stuck in traffic. Holden Kerwicki has the story.
Friday night, Julia Stanzer from Bell's Buds Animal Rescue outside of Houston, Texas, got a call that she will never forget.
I was waiting to wake up from the nightmare.
While transporting 11 dogs from Texas to New York, the van burst into flames on I-270 just outside of Maryville, Illinois, killing 7 dogs and leaving 4 others with burns.
As I was just bawling my eyes out.
Around the same time, Jordan Antonovich and her daughter were driving home along I-270 when they got caught in traffic just outside of Maryville.
This poor little golden doodle looking dog was just running straight down the middle of the road. I mean, on the dotted line, and you could just tell even from, far away that he was beat up.
After a brief chase, she was able to catch up to this Escadoodle, affectionately named Guapo. Due to the dog's condition, Illinois State Police provided a police escort as she rushed him to Hawthorne Animal Hospital.
His face has sustained quite a bit of burns. 3 out of 4 of his paws are burnt, 1 particularly bad. I told my husband, that night, I said, I'm not going to be able to forget this puppy.
So she reached out to Bell's Buds and asked to adopt him.
Oh, happy boy. Guapo is 100%, even through this tragedy, just meant to be part of the family.
What was meant to be was for him to stay with Jordan and her family. That's what he needs. He needs them.
We think we're going to give him the middle name Lucky because he is a very lucky boy. His future with us is going to be so full of love.
So right around here, got a nice warm stretch coming up.
Definitely nice indeed to at least do it early or late. Give the dog a walk. Definitely not during the middle of the day, especially as we make our way to Friday. We've got upper 50s and 60s tonight with storms to move their way through. But I've got to tell you, some storms, more storms over the weekend after we get to 86 and 90.
Thanks for watching KOTA Territory News, your local news and weather authority.